Finally, BTS, the pride of Korea, came back with Arirang. And right after the comeback, one thing started trending. Jin's name wasn't in the credits. Now there's a lot of speculation out there. Some say it was a deliberate. Others say it was just a scheduling issue. Today, I'm not going to talk about which one is true. I'd like to talk about why does this kind of tension feel almost inevitable for a group like BTS. I don't think this is just about one incident. It's a signal of something much bigger. BTS debuted in 2013. At that time, Big Hit had less than 10 full-time employees. Now, fast forward to today, Big Hit became Hype. Hype is a publicly trading company. It has almost 2,000 employees, multiple labels, multiple subsidiaries, global operations, tech platforms, and most importantly, shareholders, quarterly expectations, a stock price that reacts to performance. So what does that actually mean? It means BTS no longer just represents themselves. Every major decisions, such as comeback timing, tours, and album releases, has to go through a much larger system now. And that includes the music itself, album concepts, genre direction, even the overall identity of a record. These aren't just artistic decisions anymore. They are also business decisions. Because now there are projections to hit, expectations to manage. So at this scale, what do you want to make? And what does the market expect from BTS can become very different questions. And they don't always have the same answer. Now, here's the second layer. And I think this one is really tricky to solve. During the hiatus, all 7 members released the solo work. Each member spent years developing their own identity as a musician with full creative ownership. And this isn't just about BTS. We've seen this pattern in so many groups, Western boy bands, rock bands, even startups. The longer the group stays together, the harder it becomes to balance the group and the individual. And now imagine these 7 members in a room trying to make one album together. Everyone has opinions. Everyone has a direction they've been building. If each member wanted to include one song that truly reflects where they are, you'd probably end up with 7 very different songs, which would be hard to bring together into one cohesive album. So then the question becomes, who decides the title track? What defines the identity of the album? And if someone's creative vision gets pushed aside, how does that feel? This is where the tension becomes layered. It's not just company versus artist. It's artist versus artist. Individual identity versus group coherence. And the longer a group stays at the top, the more difficult this balance becomes. They are not rookies anymore. They are fully developed artists now. And that makes collaboration richer, but also much more complicated. So then the question is, how does a group like BTS actually stay together? I don't think the answer is something simple like just communicate better or just be like a family. I think the answer is structural. It's about creating a system that actually allows both the group and the individual to exist properly. In practical terms, that means that BTS continues to group activities that anchor the brand globally. That part is essential. But at the same time, each member needs clearly protected space for solo work, not just permission, but real support, time, budget, resources, so that their individual creative growth doesn't have to compete with group timeline. Instead, it runs in parallel. But the balance is delicate. Too much solo activity, the group loses momentum. Too little, frustration builds up. And there's another pressure here. At this level, every member is likely getting offers from outside. Major labels, global opportunities, full creative control, huge deals. And that's the real test. Because if even one or two members fully step outside the group, that's not a temporary pause. That can become a permanent shift. And we've seen this before with many groups. Once the chemistry breaks, it's almost impossible to recreate. So, is Jin being sidelined? I honestly don't know, and I'd be careful about anyone who claims they do. But what I do think is this. The Jin credit situation isn't really about one person. It's about what happens when a group stays together long enough to outgrow the conditions that originally held them together. BTS is now operating at a scale where a simple coordination isn't enough, and the members themselves have grown into fully independent artists. So the tension isn't going away. If anything, it becomes more complex over time. So maybe the real question isn't about Jin. It's about what happens when the group becomes too big and the people inside it change. I don't think there's an easy answer, but it's probably something we're going to see more of, not just with BTS, but with any group that lasts long enough.